Hi, my name is Katie and this is Katiebug Knits, and on this channel I talk all about yarny things. Mostly I talk about what I'm knitting. I do know how to crochet and occasionally I will pick up a crochet project, but let's be honest, I pretty much knit all the time. What I'm drinking today. This is not from my garden. It is called Just Tea and it's loose leaf purple tea. It's a purple chocolate tea. Whoop. There, you can see it better. Right here, I think, maybe. It's shiny. Anyway, that is my tea that I'm drinking right now. It has cacao shells, Kenyan purple tea, and rose petals. It's not chocolatey, but it kind of fits that need for coffee. It kind of hits that bitter note that coffee hits. And I love cream in my coffee, so I'm not a super bitter coffee person, but I don't like sweet coffee. But I put a tiny bit of honey in here, and the honey is like sweetening it up. So it's perfect. That's all I can say. This is a really, really good cup of tea. Let's talk about fall. Who is excited for fall? I mean, I kind of consider it fall already, but it's not actually officially fall today. It might be by the time you're watching this. It probably will be by the time you're watching it. Let's just be honest here. I'm going to set this aside so I stop sipping it all through the whole thing. I just wanted to do kind of a community building thing. I created a bingo card for fall knitting, and I just thought it would be fun to all get together and fill out our bingo cards. Whether you want to use the one that I've provided or you want to create your own, knit fall bingo 25. And that way, if we continue to do this, because I love fall, so let's do this every year. I mean, why not? This is a fun little idea. I put together a few different fun knitting ideas for fall and wearing your knits and knitting in public and visiting yarn stores, just lots of fun little things. So I am going to try to tick all the boxes, but I don't think that I will, if I'm being honest. I think that's okay to have high aspirations and high goals, but I think also giving myself forgiveness if I don't meet those goals is also very important as well, because in reality, we always are going to want to knit more than what we physically can do. So that's just how it is. So I'm going to share with you some of the ideas that I'm going to do for my fall knitting, and just hope I give you some inspiration for your fall knitting plans. All right, here is some of the things that are on my list, and I've already started on a few of them. So I have listed knitting spooky socks, and I have cast on a pair of spooky socks, and these are going to be for my son. And I just think I am having so much fun knitting these up. I absolutely love their little bats. I don't know how well you can tell if I need to move it a little bit closer or if that works. Maybe there. Yeah, definitely. But these are little bats. This comes out of the Charming Colorwork Socks by Charlotte Stone, and I just absolutely love these little bat socks. I am using Patton's Croy, I believe it's charcoal, and then the orange that I'm using is a hand-dyed yarn. It's a tonal that I actually dyed myself. I believe I used Jacquard dyes, and it's an overall tonal orange. I can't remember. I think it might be pumpkin orange, might be the actual color. And don't ask me how many grams to how much water, because I don't know. I didn't make it repeatable. I just wanted I had some Bear Knit Picks. It's Felici yarn, if I'm saying that right. It's their Bear base. So it's a really nice sock yarn. And I had some Bear skeins of it, and I wanted some tonal colors so I could do a little more color work. So that is how this color came to be. And that is this project. I'm knitting it with my Flexi Flip needles. I think I have the case here. These are a 2.75 millimeter, and what's inside here right now is another pair of knitting needles that I really like. These are DPNs, and oh gosh, I can't remember what brand they are, but I will look them up because I got them on Amazon. What is so cool about them is that every inch is a different color, so you can use these to measure when you're knitting if you don't have a ruler. I believe they're 8 inches. I think I can tell. Yeah, they're 8 inches long, so I have plenty of room on each side that I'm not worried about dropping stitches. And I use these when I do my heels and toes because they're smaller. They think these are 1.5 millimeters. I like my heels and toes to be a little smaller. That's where the knitting to be tighter. That's where it gets worn out so bad. So if the knitting is tighter there, it might not look as pretty when you're initially knitting the sock. And this is honestly the first pair I've kind of done this way. Normally my needles are not quite so different in size, but I didn't want this color work to be too tight. So that's why I went up so large in size, because I notoriously knit color work a little bit tighter and then it can't go on the foot. But these are for my son, so I really am not too terribly worried about them fitting him because he has smaller feet. And I think I only need to do like one more bat motif and I'll be able to start working on the toes. So hopefully I'll get those done soon. All right, so that is what I'm knitting for my spooky socks. Hopefully I'll make a lot of progress in the next few days and have more to show you soon. If you do not already have this colorwork book, she also has another colorwork book that is newer. Her newer book is called Joyful Colorwork Socks, also by Charlotte Stone. I think these are so darling. I absolutely love these books. And then if you don't have either one of them, I honestly think the newer book has so many really adorable patterns. So if you don't have either one, I would recommend buying the newest one first. But I mean, you do you, and I'll show you. I'm knitting out of the older book, so the bats are in the older book. But I'll show you the spooky design you could use if you had the newer book. It's little, try to get good lighting. I have lights on so that you can see me and I'm not super dark, but it's little skulls. So if you like the little skull look, that's in the newer book. I think I like the bats better. The bats also remind me of Minecraft, and my son absolutely loves Minecraft, so I thought that he would like them even more if they were bats. So that's why I did those. Okay, moving on. That's my spooky sock suggestions. I'm sure there are so many more patterns that you could find. Black cats would also be fun. I'm sure in the Doodle Knit directory, which we're going to talk about that too, because I absolutely love color work. And why don't we just move on to the next one? The next one on my list is to knit color work for one of the boxes. And I'm actually going to use this book. I'm going to knit a pair of socks. So this one actually fills 2 different, it could fill 2 or 3 different slots, to be honest, because Fish Girl Fall is going on right now. Young Folk Knits is hosting a Fish Girl Fall knit along, and there is like some octopus and ocean theme designs in Jamie Lomax's book. And I think I'm probably going to make like an octopus sock or something. We went to a really cool aquarium a few years back in, I think it was like the border between Ohio and Kentucky. I think it's in Cincinnati. I can't remember exactly what that aquarium is. If you're in that area, you probably know. It was a really fun aquarium. And there was an octopus in that aquarium that was like watching my youngest son, like following him around. And I don't know, octopus are so cool, honestly. And I also read that book, Remarkably Bright Creatures. I don't know if you've read that yet. The author wrote in the octopus's perspective. So I think it would be really fun to knit something like that. Knit a pair of socks just to have those two little memories connected together and knit them for me. So that's on my list for the Fish Girl Fall. So you could also knit color work out of this book as well if you don't have any of the other books. I'm sure she has a cat design in here. Yeah, because she has a cat design for this little hat. So you could easily put this little cat on a sock, and that could be your spooky socks. You could do black cat spooky socks. So you don't have to buy a bunch of books. You don't have to buy a bunch of patterns. You probably even can find something for free, but today I didn't look up free patterns for this. I'm just sharing what I'm going to do with the stuff that I already have at my house. Yeah. And I thought, since I have this here, I can show you the color work that I made with this book when I first got it. So the pattern in the book is the Doodle Cowl. And you can pick any designs in her book and do any of the designs that you want. And I think what was fun about this is I didn't really pre-plan it. I just did it row by row. And I kind of had a color palette in mind. And then as I went row by row, I would knit something different. So it was really like a fun, spontaneous color work knit projects. So cute. Absolutely love it. It's adorable. Okay, now there are lots of different boxes you could fill just by using this book. She has a mitten pattern in here, and that's one of the boxes. I was going to show you in a little bit what mitten pattern I will probably use, but I don't know. These mittens are so cute because you can it's interchangeable with what design you want to do. So I might have to like second guess the initial mitten pattern I was going to do and change it to one of hers. I'm trying to think what else. Is there any other categories? Obviously, you can make anything orange from this book. Yeah, so it's kind of choose your own adventure. I don't know if you liked reading those books when you were a kid, but that's a little bit what I feel like this book is, knitting themed. Like, let's choose our own knitting themed adventure. We're picking a basic wardrobe piece to knit, whether it's socks, a cowl, a scarf. What else does she have in here? Those are the main ones. And she has patterns for socks, both DK and fingering weight. So that is handy. Mittens, headband, hat, cowl, scarf. So there's a lot of options in here. And I thought I would also show you another pattern that I knit from her book. And it was the headband. And this was also really fun to knit. I wanted something very classic for fall. I knit this last year, and it's an alpaca base. I just bought the yarn off of Instagram, I believe. Indian Treasure, maybe, is what it is. It's a cream and a black base. And then I just did different motifs. So like this one is a leaf, and the next one is just kind of maybe a flower or some kind of motif. These are like vining flowers. I think that's a different kind of leaf. And then these are like little roses here on the end. And I really had fun knitting that as well. So that's just a couple of things from that book. So it kind of gives you an idea. If that is something you're interested in, that might be a book you want to purchase. And I totally recommend it because I absolutely love that book. All right, now let's talk about, so that hits on my Fish Girl Fall. I also have knitting textures on the book, on the list. I do have a few patterns in mind for that, for knitting textures. The blueberry waffle socks are a pair of socks that I would actually love to knit. They look so soft and cozy, and those are on my list. Those are at the very bottom of my list, though, to be honest. So the second make along that I'm going to talk about right now is Make All the Cardigans. And this is hosted by Stephanie, and her channel is Edible Thoughts Makes, and that's what she also is on Instagram. I'll share her information here. And it ran from August 15th all the way to December 31st. So it gives you plenty of time to work on a cardigan. I don't even think you have to have it done. I think it's just if you post that you're working on it. I did start a cardigan already, and I can tell you about it. Let's talk about it. Let me pull it out. I haven't even shown you guys this yet. Just tiny little sneak peeks on Instagram here and there, but I haven't gone and talked about it at all on a video. So this is really fun. This probably would also consider fall under color work as well, because it is not mosaic knitting. It is stranded color work. But it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm showing it upside down. I should show it right side up. No, I was right. This is right side up because I started with the neckline. Okay, so this is the SeaGlass Cardigan, and this is what I have so far. This is so fun to knit, and I think what's so fun about it is you're just knitting. So the technique, you cut your yarn, and when you get to the end of your row, and then you slide it back and knit the next row. So you don't do any purling, which is kind of fun. They have a method for securing all your ends at the end. And when I get to that point, we will talk about how I liked it and if I like it, if I don't. But they have so many video tutorials that are very helpful that I think I'm going to be fine along the whole process. I just absolutely love it. So I'll share what kind of yarns that I'm using. I think this is going to be just a gorgeous cardigan for me to put on in the fall, so I need to get it going. I do think I've been working on socks a lot lately, so if I hadn't been working on the socks, this would be a lot further than it is, but my socks kind of stopped me, and I put that on hold. I also didn't want to get too far ahead before I got a chance to start talking about it and showing you guys. I kind of want to vlog on this sweater and make a whole video just about my SeaGlass cardigan. So that's another reason why I didn't want to get too far ahead and not have a chance to talk about it. All right, let's talk about some of the yarns that I'm using. And I do have the majority of this yarn is going to be wool. A few of my contrast colors are acrylic, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So the primary color is this lemon curd city tweed, and this is I'm pretty sure this is discontinued. So I had this in my stash. I bought a sweater's quantity worth, and I wasn't sure what to make with it, and I looked at the pattern and how much yarn I need for this sweater, and I think it will be just about perfect for this. As this is, I'm using this every other row. So there's a few different ways you can knit the SeaGlass cardigan. You can do all scraps, so every row is different, or you can have one significant main color, and that's what I'm using this for. And so all my other coordinating colors are every other row. So some of my coordinating colors that I'm using this purple. This is an alpaca yarn that Indian Treasure. I have a few other colors. I also have this, I believe is Swish DK from Knit Picks, but I dyed it myself, and I believe I used it as like a yarn mop. So basically what I mean by that is when I was dyeing another yarn, there was a little bit of color left in the pan, and so I would take a blank skein of yarn and just soak up all the rest of that color. So I used that a few different times, and it just has so many different, it's mostly turquoise, but it has so many different shades of colors in it. It has the like turquoise, it has a little bit of green, because I probably have yellow in it, so the blue and yellow mixing, and then there's definitely pinks. It's really pretty. I could not recreate it. It's a one-of-a-kind yarn, so I put it into this sweater. I thought it would be a fun color pop. So we've got so far these, and then I also have this yarn, and this is yarn that I bought at a store called Hirschner's. They have a warehouse in Wisconsin, and that's where I got this. So I bought, before I was really making a lot of sweaters, I bought this in their clearance section in their warehouse. I'm sure it's acrylic, but there were no labels on it at all. I got it pretty cheap. It looks like kind of a sport weight. It's almost DK, but it's a little bit light, but it's not fingering. I'm sure it's acrylic because it kind of feels acrylic, but the color is so pretty. I thought it would be fun. I was like, even if I'm just learning how to knit, I'm sure I can make something with it and not have to purchase really expensive yarn while I'm learning. So I purchased it for that reason, and I added it in because I really love the color and I think it's going to be a nice contrast. This is a little, I'm sure this is acrylic too. I've had this for years. Probably got it at Hobby Lobby. I'm not really sure what it is. It's probably sport weight as well, because it's not quite as thick as, it's like a baby yarn, I guess. It's definitely not quite DK, and it's not fingering. So that's the sport party is where I'm putting it at. And then this is also from Hobby Lobby. This is an acrylic yarn, and I believe this is like a baby weight as well. So these are some of my colors, and then I can't really hold it up all together because this is as much I think as well, maybe we'll try. I have another yellow. I have one more yellow. This yellow is a yarn that I got in a giveaway from Heidi and Lana. And this is her alpaca, I believe it's her Meadow DK alpaca blend. And I have another project that I want to show you that was made out of this yarn, but in a different color. So for the giveaway, I got this color in like a turquoise color. And I was saving this color, but I think that I'm going to put this in there. And then I also have this lighter yellow. This one has a little silk in it, so it's like a silk merino. This was a gift. So I'm going to use like these yellows together with all these other colors, but this will give me more shading. I think it'll give the sweater more depth. So that's kind of the plan. And then I have also, this is pretty sure it's worsted weight, and I'm pretty sure it's acrylic. It's been in my stash forever too. I'm just putting a few stripes here and there to give it just a little more depth. But I'm not putting very much of this in because I don't want it to change the sweater too much. But I did put a strand in, and I really like how the dark color is. And so then I was like, well, maybe it doesn't need it. But I noticed a few rows later that it did need another strand. So if I can show you, there's a brown up here, and then there's a brown down here. So I'm trying to space them out fairly far apart. And I'm not really choosing to do my colors in a very specific, this has to go next, this has to go next. Trying to do a very flowing freestyle, but also I still want it to look fairly cohesive. So that is my SeaGlass cardigan so far. I'm very excited to be working on it. It is so fun to knit, and I can't wait to have the finished project. So that is what I'm doing for my cardigan. But I also, you guys, I have another cardigan idea, and it goes hand in hand with a second box on my list, and that is knit a granny square. I bet you can guess what cardigan I'm talking about, and that is the Jethro cardigan. So granny squares are just classic. I mean, they are like classic cozy. You could pair the knitting granny squares box with making a blanket, because that's also a one of the boxes on my bingo card. You could do that. You could do 2 boxes at once with the granny squares and the blanket, or you can do like I'm doing with the Jethro cardigan. So I also will say though, I probably won't start the Jethro cardigan for a while. So I'm kind of in the collecting yarn for the Jethro cardigan right now. I'll show you the color palette that I have. So what I'll probably do is maybe crochet up a few granny squares and kind of start the process, but I don't want to get too far ahead because I don't want to make too many and not have all the colors that I want to use, but I'll share with you the colors that I have so far. Okay. They are all in this little basket right here. So these are my Jethro cardigan colors, and these 3 right here, this pink and coral and brown, these are all Pearl Soho colors. And then this is a Knit Picks DK. And then this is a Bear Knit Picks Hawthorne. And then this is Swish. These are both Swish Knit Picks DK. So I'm looking at these and I'm not sure if the gray works. I don't know. You tell me. Let's look at it like this. Of course, we're looking at it in a gray basket, but I'm kind of wondering if it looks better without the gray. I might have to take it out of the gray basket to show you, because I've been looking at this for a little bit. I think that I need like a latte color and not this gray. I think this gray is too cool and this is too warm, and I need more warm in here and less cool. That's my opinion after looking at it and really thinking about it. But I can still use this for socks for something. So this is me gathering yarn. My base of the sweater will probably be cream because I have a lot of that yarn already, the Bear Hawthorne yarn, and I'll just be on the lookout for, I figure one of these days I'm gonna go to a yarn shop. It's gonna have like the perfect latte DK weight, and these are wool, so I'd be looking for a merino wool. I'm sure Knitting for Olive makes a really pretty merino wool. Are they DK weight or are they worsted? I don't know. that would be in the color palette. But anyway, that is the Jethro cardigan. That's on my list, but it is not at the top of my list. It's further towards the bottom. But I will probably make a few granny squares because I'm itching to get started on that project. But I have a feeling it's going to be a slow project for me because I want to work on a bunch of socks before the end of the year. That's my big thing. All right, as far as scarf, I probably won't be knitting a scarf. Like, I love scarves. And I think if I decided to knit a scarf, I would probably want to knit a Hogwarts scarf or something like that, maybe even for a gift. I think my husband would probably really like to have one of those. I don't know if he'd wear it or not, like at work, but he would probably still enjoy having it. So if I knit a scarf, that might be more what I end up doing. And I'd just probably improvise the stitches and like how many stitches and how many rows and just kind of do that off the cuff. And probably acrylic yarn because I probably have enough left over from my last sweater. It's kind of Hogwarts colors anyway. And it was a recycled acrylic from Knit Picks, from their Brava Recycle, I believe. So I probably have enough of that to make a scarf. But like I said, that's the bottom of the list. I don't think I'll get to that by the end of the fall, but that's an option. Cowls. Let's talk cowls because I already showed you one cowl option, and that was from the Doodle Knit Directory. Remember this one? It's not my favorite cowl that I own though. That is what I want to show you right now. My favorite cowl that I own that I have made is this one. And I'm going to try it on for you because I want you to see it on because that is also part of it. I love wearing this. I'm going to pull my hair out of here. Hopefully I don't ruin my hair for the rest of the episode, but you know, if I do, oh well. We all know. We all understand that, okay? So we got to put on our knits and it's going to mess up our hair. But honestly, that's like probably the best part about winter is I can put on a knit hat and when I go out and I don't have to worry about fixing my hair all the time. Oh, is that just me or is that you too? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I want to show this off. This is called the Cold Spring Cowl, and something I love about it is it has this little slit here on the shoulder. It's where you're, like you would do a split hem. That's basically what it is. And then in the center is just stockinette stitch. And then around the neck is a tighter ribbing so that you can hold it up higher on your face. You can put it over your nose, and I have done that, but it does, when you're walking and rushing, it will fall. So there's been times where I've had to like hold it up. The hat though, I made a hat, just a basic knit hat. You can combine and they'll kind of stick to each other, so that kind of helps. And then it looks a little like a baklava because you only have your eyes showing. I'm definitely not going to put the hat on right this minute because it will mess up my hair. For this set, I also made gloves. So this is the mitten pattern I was going to tell you about, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But right now we're talking about this Cold Spring Cowl. There's not as many projects as I think there should be on Ravelry. This is so pretty. I absolutely love, it's DK weight. This yarn is the Heidi and Lana Meadow DK weight base, and it is the alpaca yarn. And it is just so, you can see, it's just got so much lovely drape to it. It's gorgeous. Yeah, so this would be a fabulous gift to give anyone. I wanted to share the yarn. If I do end up making one of these for a gift, this is the yarn I am planning to use. And this is Hedgehog Fibers. I got this in one of her potluck orders, and I think it's been a little bit, it's been a minute. I haven't really known what to do with it because it is so bright. It's gorgeous, and I really would love to see it knit up in something like this. So I think that would be fun. And along the same line, it would be fun to also, if I have, I'm sure I would have some left over. If I have enough, I could knit a pair of mittens with it. So that would also be fun. So this mitten pattern is called line by line mittens. And the fun part about it, it's not on Ravelry, so you'll have to go to Knit Picks. It's a Knit Picks pattern, but you can download it from their website. You have to purchase it. It is a purchase pattern. The fun part about it is they have a few different options. So this is the fingerless option. They have a glove option, so you do the full length fingers. They have an option for mittens, so you're not doing any of the fingers, you're just doing a mitten. And they also have an option for doing the fingerless, but having the mitten top flap that comes over the fingers, or it hangs down when you're using your fingers. So it's kind of a several patterns in one, so that's why I bought it, because I thought it was kind of fun and it had a lot of different options. I think it was probably like $5. Don't quote me on that. That's what this pattern is. So the Cold Spring Cowl, the line by line mittens, and I don't know, some basic hat. That's what this is. I just needed something to match, and I used every bit of the yarn that I had. So I ended up using 2 skeins of Heidi and Lana's Meadow DK weight base to make these 3 items. So I was gifted a skein, and I purchased 1 more. So that is a set that I wear every winter a lot. That's a well-used knit. So I think that the Cold Spring Cowl would be a fabulous gift knit. Okay, we talking about hats. Hat is also on the list. There are so many hat patterns. Currently, my favorite hat pattern to knit is actually a fingering weight hat, and it is the sock head hat. This is my favorite hat. I have knit so many sock head hats. So there's just a slouchy beanie. It's pretty thin because it's fingering weight, but I just love the way these hats knit up. I guess it's basically like knitting up socks, kind of. It's a very mindless knit. You do rib for quite a while, but you get in a rhythm, and then it's stockinette, and you don't do your shaping until at the very, very end, because you want that slouch. You want it to kind of hang down in the back. So this was my first one, and I still have more of this yarn. This is Knit Picks, and I believe it is one of their, this is one of their Felici colorways. I want to say it's something like vampire or something. Let me see if I have it over here. Like, I should show you what it is. Okay. I will pull out my fingering weight box. My Felici colors. This is all my my self-striping yarn, because I love self-striping yarn. And I plan on making a video in the future about some of my favorite self-striping yarn companies to buy from. Okay, here we go. This is, Vampire Vibes. Is that what I didn't say vampire vibes, but I said something vampire probably. So I think I have 3 skeins. No, I have 2 skeins and like a little bit left of that. So I want to make something. I don't know if I'll end up making like something else to go with the hat, or if I will just make a cute pair of socks to go with it. But I'll show you guys. This is it's basically my Knit Picks Felici, but there's some other brands in there too. That's my self-striping yarn stash. That's most of it. There's a few in other places, but that's most of it. Oh, I do have some Freckled Whimsy in here too. That's in a skein instead of a little ball. Okay, let me put that out of the way because I wasn't meant to be talking about that. Have I mentioned that I start talking about things and then I veer off topic? And when I go to edit these videos, I have started a sentence, not finished the sentence, thought of something else in my head, finished the sentence in my head, didn't say it out loud, and jumped to another topic entirely. That happens a lot. And I am trying to edit all that out and make my videos make sense. So if you're ever watching my video and you hear something like, where did she get from this to this? I don't know. My brain is like wired like squirrel. It's wired oddly, I guess. And I'm just going to try to embrace the spontaneity of the way my brain likes to work and try to work with it. And I'm trying to catch myself when I do it. But this was my self-striping yarn tangent. I'm going to put them away and we're going to move back on to the topic that we were talking about. This is another sockhead hat that I have, by the way. This is one of my favorites. I've worn this one a lot. And I've also made gloves to match it. And these gloves, I'll go ahead and put them on for you guys because they're fun. These are a free pattern. These are my first knit wool gloves that are full length. The other ones are, they're the fingerless. And there's just something about a fingering weight knit wool glove. They're so cozy. So you definitely need to make some of these before winter because I love them. Love them. They're a little fiddly. I had to use DPNs. I don't love to use DPNs, but it was worth it. I can say that. It was worth it. And really, up until you do the DPNs, it's kind of like knitting a sock. You've got the thumb instead of the heel, but other than that, it's a lot like a sock. So until you get to the fingers, and then you have to knit on these tiny little DPNs and try not to drop any needles and yarn and all that. Still worth it. All right, what else have I not talked about? Black and white stripes. I have a great thing in mind that I want to do. I found this free leg warmers pattern. I grew up in the 90s. Leg warmers were like pretty cool. I loved dance costumes, the little leotards with the leg warmers. I loved that look when I was a kid. So I feel like knitting some leg warmers would be like nostalgic for me, and knitting them black and white stripes and wearing them in the fall would be so fun. I don't really have wool for that, but I'm sure that I have acrylic in my stash. So I might end up digging out some acrylic white and black worsted weight and knit up a pair of leggings. So that might be on the needles eventually. That's on my list. I just found a free pattern, so we'll see if it works out, but that's something I would like to have, and I think they're cute and fun, but we'll see what ends up happening there. there is one more box that I was going to share with you of what I'm going to make, and that's cable knitting. So there are so many beautiful cable knit patterns, but as you have seen, I have a lot of projects on my wish list for this fall, and I don't have time to knit a very large, big cable knit sweater. But if you are part of Cuff Club, you will have seen that Summer Lee came out with a cable cuff on, well, really the autumn socks were a cable cuff. But this September cuff is a little more chunky, and I think it will be really pretty. So that's on my list to knit, and I'd like to get those on my needles pretty soon. But the thing that I'm going to do a little bit different than her pattern is I'm going to try to convert it to DK weight, and that's where I'm going to use this Doodle knit directory. I'm kind of going to use her pattern for her DK weight socks and combine it with Summer Lee's pattern because it's fingering weight, and find the number in between the two that will keep my repeats right for the cabling, but will hopefully be the right number for not having a huge sock. So I'm gonna play around with that. I haven't really looked at the math of all of it or gauge swatched any of it. I may have to do like a smaller needle or something. But the pattern or the yarns that I want to use this Swish DK in white. Yeah, it's just white. I didn't know if it had like a fancy name for white. And then this beautiful colorway called Winter Rainbow. And this is by Desert Vista Dye Works. And she dyes some gorgeous self-striping yarn. So talk about self-striping yarn. She has some beautiful colorways. If you don't want to purchase a colorway that is already pre-made, and she'll note it on her website if she already has it in stock. She also lists several that are colorways that she can work up that are not in stock. If you purchase one that is not in stock, just be prepared to wait a little bit because she has had some health issues. So I see that to say if you order it, be patient with her. Her colorways are beautiful. I totally recommend shopping from her, but don't be in a rush to get the yarn, okay? I totally want to promote her yarn because I absolutely love her colorways, and I just think, how pretty is this? I ordered this a month or so ago, so I've had it for a little while now. But this is the yarn that I want to use for the Summer Lee Cuff Club Volume 2 and the cable cuff, and I'll just do a stockinette for the rest of the sock and have this pretty striping. That will probably be a gift. We'll see. I could honestly talk about knitting all day long, but let's be honest. You and I both, we got things to do, okay? We got knitting to do. I hope you have been able to sit and do your knitting while I'm talking and talking your ear off all about it. And I hope that you join me on Instagram. I am Katiebug Knits over there. Grab a snapshot of the knitting bingo card and play along with me. Every time you get another bingo, you could circle it and share it on your Instagram page. Follow that hashtag. And yeah, let's fill out our fall knitting bingo cards this year. All right, guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy fall knitting, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.